Right, let's resume our story from yesterday, where it was mainly introducing Dribbling Drew. The real story starts. The day our story starts, there was a school trip to the Natural History Museum. This was a wondrous place, full of all sorts of treasures, from moon rock to dinosaur skeletons. The museum even housed a life-size cast of a blue whale. As Drew's class pulled up outside the museum in the school coach, Mr. Nummings, the science teacher, handed out his dreaded worksheets. Now listen carefully, children. On these worksheets, I want you to make a list of all the exhibits you see in the museum today. Oh, do we have to, sir? Moaned Dribbling Drew, stifling a yawn. Dozing on the coach for an hour had tired the boy out, and now he was ready for bed. A pool of drool had collected at his feet. Yes, Drew, we have to, yelled the teacher. And I want you to stay awake during this visit. Mr. Nummings turned back to the rest of the class. Now, everyone, the pupil who writes down the most exhibits will come top of the class. So keep looking and listening the whole time. Right? Out you get. As they walked in through the museum's giant wooden doors, all the children marvelled at the huge skeleton of a diplodocus, which took pride of place in the great hall. But Drew simply yawned. Then he broke away from his teacher and classmates and found a nice, quiet place to nap. It was on top of a glass case housing a stuffed dodo, a bird that had become extinct centuries before. No one would disturb him up there. Drew climbed up using a stuffed giraffe as a ladder. He lay down and closed his eyes. Then the boy slept and slept and slept and dribbled and dribbled and dribbled. The boy could sleep absolutely anywhere. Standing up during a rock concert, hanging upside down from a tree, even on a roller coaster, as everyone around him screamed. This particular day, Drew slept for so long that he was still asleep when the Natural History Museum was locked up for the night. Without anyone realising, he was still there when all the lights were turned off. I wonder what's going to happen. All night Drew slept. As he slept, he dribbled. Zzz, plop. Zzz, plop. Zzz, plop. Drew dribbled and dribbled and dribbled. Then he dribbled some more. The spot of drool beneath him spread into a puddle. Soon it was a lake of spittle. By dawn, Drew's sea of dribble had filled the entire Natural History Museum. Blech. In the morning, Winston, the burly security guard, arrived bright and early to unlock the doors and open the museum as he did every day. However, this was no ordinary day. The first thing Winston noticed was a transparent fluid oozing underneath the doors. "Oh, that's very strange," he thought out loud. "Maybe one of the daft old professors has left a tap running." Next, the security guard dipped the toe of his boot into the liquid and realised it couldn't be water from a leaky pipe. Whatever this was, it was thick and sticky. Worried that the museum might have been flooded, Winston flung open the giant wooden doors as fast as he could. Nothing could have prepared Winston for that. What happened next? What are people thinking? What are they predicting? Whoosh! A tidal wave of drool washed him clean off his feet, and he found himself travelling at speed down the street. Ugh. Whoa! The big man screamed like a baby. Closely behind the security guard floated some of the biggest exhibits from the museum: a stuffed polar bear, the life-size cast of the blue whale, even the Diplodocus skeleton. They all bobbed along the streets of London on this rushing river of dribble. I wonder what's happened to Drew. Has he drowned in his own dribble? Atop the glass case that housed the dodo was Drew. In all the commotion, he had finally woken up from his long sleep. As he floated down the road, the flood of his own spittle destroyed everything in its path. Cars, lorries, and even buses were swept off the ground and began bobbing along on the colossal ooze of drool. There. Drew leapt off the glass case onto the roof of a nearby building. From the safe place, he watched more of the exhibits from the museum pass by. Giant birds' eggs, a stuffed gorilla, a model of an elephant. The boy reached into his blazer pocket. He still had the worksheet his teacher, Mr. Nummings, had given him at the start of the school trip. Drew made a note of everything he saw. I think I know where this is going. I think someone's going to be rewarded for something he shouldn't be. Every single exhibit from the museum floated past, and he wrote them all down. Mars rock, a Neanderthal skull, a marble statue of Charles Darwin, a giant squid, a stuffed vulture, an earthquake machine, a Model T-Rex. The list went on and on. A seahorse pickled in a jar, a model volcano, a fossil of a prehistoric fish, a spacesuit, a stuffed giraffe, an old lady clinging onto a shopper. Hang on, that's a real old lady. Oh, a model of a woolly mammoth, To his credit, Dribbling Drew spent hours listing everything he saw as a gushing river of drool swept all the museum's precious exhibits out to sea. The next day, in class, Drew proudly handed in his worksheet to Mr. Nummings. Aside from a few spots of dribble, it was perfect. After looking through all of his pupils' work, the science teacher announced the results. "I can reveal that the winner, with 100%, is Drew," said Mr. Nummings. The boy was top of the class for the first time in his life. Hope he's not going to be too rewarded. Before he was promptly expelled, which means he was kicked out of school, as a punishment for destroying everything in the Natural History Museum. Drew was put to work there. His job was to reassemble the Diplodocus skeleton that had been recovered from the bottom of the sea. He was not to stop until this giant jigsaw was finished. Dribbling Drew didn't get any sleep for the next 10 years. And down the bottom, Raj, "This story is far too soggy." I'm glad he didn't get a reward, or too much of a reward. Wonder what he could be doing next. What a great story.